I'm here with Elton Ash, the Regional Executive Vice President of Remax Western Canada. And Elton, I'd like to ask you a few questions about the real estate market. Everybody's wondering about where we're at, if we're going to head into some growth, if we're going to keep seeing a struggle, and obviously you see the news and there's all these different headlines out there. Can you tell me a little bit about where we're at sort of from a world market, first of all?
Well, certainly when we look at what's happening around the world, Europe is still has a huge economic crisis going on. Unemployment is at record highs, and real estate values continue to plummet. Nevertheless, that's all part of what it's going to take to recover, and Europe will be in a 10-year recovery period. So then as we go from Europe to Southeast Asia, and we look at China and India, which are huge marketplaces that are enjoying huge growth, very aggressive growth, and we look at mainland China and how that growth is leading to offshore investment to countries such as Canada and the United States and Australia. Now, we're very fortunate in Canada that Toronto and Vancouver are very popular marketplaces for mainland Chinese investment. So as a country, Canada does very well with that type of investment dollar. Now we look at Kelowna, and the market here in Kelowna is driven very much by what happens in the lower mainland and what happens in Alberta. The Alberta economy is very strong. Oil and natural gas and resource industries are driving a very positive growth structure in Alberta. We look at the lower mainland, and right now the lower mainland real estate market is pretty flat. And that's for two reasons. First is affordability, because prices have escalated so much in Vancouver that people just are pausing right now because of the escalation in home prices. And then mainland Chinese investment has also flattened off. Now we know that in 2014, probably mid-year, there's going to be another wave of Chinese investment around the world. And again, Vancouver will do well with that. And when that starts to occur, then that market will flow into Kelowna and the BC interior. So things in Kelowna are probably going to be a little bit flat over the next few months, but we are a destination market and people will always want to come here.
So a lot of concerns that I hear when people are talking about coming to live in Kelowna or you know, such a beautiful area, but the housing prices compared to the salary options that are out there, especially for younger people, seem to be a bit of a struggle. Some people have to move away in order to find jobs. Do you have any thoughts about that, about any kind of hope in that area?
Well, we always hear, and of course I have a family and children who are in their 20s and 30s now, and so it's always a concern as to how they're going to get into their first home. But that was no different from when I was their age and for my parents. Getting your first home is always the most difficult step. And over the years we've always heard in all smaller communities, and Kelowna is a small community when you compare to Calgary, Edmonton, Toronto, Vancouver, that it's hard for young people to stay in the community. Well, again, that has always been the case. There's nothing different in any of this. It's always a challenge and a struggle, A, to stay in a community where you've grown up with, and B, to buy your first home. So nothing has ever changed despite what the Great Recession has brought about. Kelowna is a unique community. We are a destination. People work their entire lives to come and retire to Kelowna from all over Canada. And so that causes a couple of issues. We end up with a polarized economic base. And what I mean by that is that we have people that come to Kelowna who are very wealthy, who are upper middle income, who have worked their lives, saved a great nest egg, sell their principal residence wherever they're coming from, come to Kelowna, buy a nice home, and live a very comfortable lifestyle. And then we have our local service industry, which is really what drives Kelowna economically. I mean, we have some high-paying, clean industry, high-tech jobs here, but compared to other communities, it's not a large percentage of our overall economy. So you have this service industry, which are low-paying jobs. And so you have this polarization of a wealthy component of our population and then a working poor component of our population. And this is a problem that Kelowna is going to have to deal with from a social infrastructure point of view, and social programs and that sort of thing. And it's true with any kind of community of our style, and where you get this huge inflow of people that want to be here.
So switching gears a bit, not everyone, all of our viewers would know that you're also the Commodore of the Yacht Club this year here in Kelowna, and you have a bit of a passion for yacht racing. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm from Saskatchewan, and the closest thing we ever got to a lake when I was growing up was 15 miles away in a slough. But there was a couple life-changing events that occurred, or I should say a single life-changing event that occurred for my wife and I, and that was the Okanagan Mountain Fire. We lost our home. We were up in Crawford at the time. And going through that process is kind of like a metamorphosis, I suppose, in some ways. We came to the realization that you need to take time to enjoy life. So after the fire, when we got settled, we decided to buy a vacation property in the Caribbean in Antigua. And so when we go down there, I sail and race in regattas and with a local Jolly Harbour Yacht Club there. So I just developed this real passion for racing and sailing and enjoy it to a great extent. So here I am now in 2013 as Commodore of the Yacht Club, which is an interesting period of time for the Yacht Club, because we are right in the middle of building a new clubhouse facility right across the parking lot where the senior center used to be. It's going to be a much larger facility. We're going through a large membership expansion at the same time. And so there's a lot of change, very positive change for the Yacht Club, which also reflects onto the community of Kelowna as well, right on the waterfront. And so it's an exciting time to be part of the Yacht Club. It's exciting to be part of the development of that new building, and it's rewarding being involved with that.
That's great. So one question we always ask people on our In Focus profiles that we do every day is, if you had a yacht, what would you name it? And so this question obviously has relevance for you. So what's the name of your yacht?
Well, it's very hard to name your yacht because you want it to reflect something, and it's like naming a child. So we looked on the internet, and just like looking at baby name books, and we came up with the name Nerita. Now Nerita is Greek, which stands for sea nymph. So we thought that was appropriate, because you want something individual and something that might have some secondary meaning to it. So we went through the whole rechristening process, which involves pouring a lot of champagne to Neptune, who lives in the water, and consuming some, and inviting lots of friends to enjoy that process. So Nerita is the name of our boat.
That's great. Thanks so much for your time.
Great to be a part of it.